Hi, on this channel today I'm going to show you how to paint shadows and how to correct your mistakes at the end of the painting. I've chosen a good subject for this shadow practice, and it's a photograph of some fishing cottages and boats on a very sunny day. Now we're going to start with a drawing first. I'm using a 2B pencil on this occasion. Sometimes I use the 4B, which is softer, but it doesn't really matter in this case. And I'm going to be starting with the rooftops and just trying to make sure that everything fits. There's a little bit of perspective going on here, but I'm really just drawing a couple of houses. The houses that are in the distance are not going to be there in the finished painting. I do sometimes just put in marks here and there before I even start, just to make sure that everything is going to fit before I start putting all the lines in. And don't be afraid, like I am, to make mistakes at this stage, because you can just rub it out with putty rubber. The main thing is to get all the main shapes in. The centre of attention here is going to be the house, which is just off centre to the left. And I've masked off the paper here to because that's the size that seemed to suit this particular photograph, and it's actually 10 inches by 10 inches, so it's square. Normally I paint in landscape, which would be this size of paper that you can see, which is a quarter sheet of imperial. Just popping these boats in. They're all on their backs, which is good for this particular subject because there's lots of white and shadows. Just popping the windows in here, not being too fussy. It's basically painting boxes. I'm still mindful of the position of the windows, that they do fit, they do look architecturally correct, as in being in line with each other. You can paint these things loosely, but you still have to have a certain amount of accuracy.
just popping in the second cottage, which is not of so much importance, and rubbing out the bits because they'll show through on this on the painting of the roof, because a lot of the areas are only going to get one coat or one layer of paint. Got to put the chimneys in. Just add in them, and the chimney pots. Now getting ready for the first wash, which is going to be the sky. Putting on water first, because I want the wash when I put it on to be nice and even. It's a nice clear sky with just a couple of little faint clouds. Just mop off the edges. And I'm going to be using cobalt blue and some cerulean blue. Going all over with the paint, just leaving some areas white, which will be the clouds, and going into where there's going to be a tree. I can paint this quite strong because there's water on there, and it will dry out quite a bit lighter. Added some more paint. That looks okay. And I'm just taking the whiteness off of this where the boats are, because they're not pure white. They are the holes of the boats, so they this will dry out quite light. And this was really just paint that was in my palette near my darks. Now I'm doing the mix for the roof of the house. This is light red and raw sienna. Now I've brought the film forward as I've just dried this off. I'm popping in a first wash, which I'll come halfway down the roof with, leaving a small gap on the corner, and then the bottom half will be adding some water just so it varies the tone when it dries.
popping in some of the what was cobalt blue and just a little bit of Payne's grey for the roof at the cottage at the back. And I'm using the same mix to do the windows quite simply. And on the cottage at the side, more of a blue mix. I'm painting this in quite cold colours, so it recedes, and all the focus is on the main cottage. As you can see on the front of the main cottage, the paint is running into the sky a little bit, but it doesn't matter too much because I'm going to be putting this distance tree there, so it won't really notice. Painting around the car where there's a bush. Now the top half of the bush will be in sunlight, so I'm just kind of merging this wash into it. Making a mix up of raw sienna, quinacridone gold and light red, all nice bright colours, nice warm bright colours at the foreground where the beach is. They look quite strong now, but they will tone down quite a bit. Just randomly popping the colours on. And a little bit of my original blue mix going on there. The bottom part of this, not over worried about, because I'm going to be putting a shadow right the way across. All very quick. The paper that I'm using here is Saunders Waterford 180 pounds rough, which I like to use. It can get very wet. And when I use it outside, it doesn't cockle as easy as other papers do. Now this is my shadow mix for part of this, which is alizarin crimson and some cobalt blue. Just bringing this in the houses at the back with a wash. And using the same mix for the rowing boats, which are on their backs, on the or upside down, I should say, on the beach. And as you can see, the sun's coming from the left, so the shadows are being cast to the right with this view.
carefully painting the shadows in here on the boats. Nice sharp lines here. Still pretty much the same mix, cobalt blue and alizarin crimson in various quantities, just varying it slightly as I go. And sometimes I'll maybe dip into other blues, the like French ultramarine, and here I'm just popping some water on the edge of the boat so it's not such a hard edge, as that would be rounded, being the bottom of the boat. Doing the boat to the left, slightly more of a blue colour. And just touching up these other boats while the paint's still wet, just making them a bit darker. I like, if possible, to try and do the shadows in one go and not go over them again, because invariably it starts to become too dark. Putting the shadow on the front of the house, I'm using a small round brush, and I'm introducing some other colours, on this occasion light red, just to break it up a bit so it's not just a big slab of one colour. It just varies it a bit. If you've got lots of shadows like this and you do it all one colour, it just starts to look quite dull. Doing the shadow on the to the side of the house. Now when I do the shadows, I try to get the strong part of the shadow in the corner, and then do it weaker as it goes out, like strong there, and then I'll add a little bit of water as it goes across the building there, just varying it a bit, because the shadow would be stronger in that corner than it would be out to the right. Just going over the house at the back, as it was a bit light. Now popping the wall in, I'm just trying to keep that nice white line where the top of the wall would be, so that you can see that there is a wall there. And I'm using various colours on this just to try and make it interesting. Cerulean blue, light red, and going over the bush to the right of the house. This is the shadow at the bottom
of the painting, done very quickly using the shadow colour that I already had, and popping in some red and some yellow. Pop it in quickly and just leave it alone. Now I've got my rigger brush, which is a very fine tip on it, as its name suggests. It's for using for things like the rigging on boats, but it's very good for using on things like window frames, that kind of thing. I have been stopping the video every now and then for when I've been drying it, so some things might be a little bit out of sequence, like the windows I'd painted on the main building. Done that with the rigger. Painting the car, which I've kept the colour that it was, nice bright yellow, which brings your eye into the main part of the painting where the fishing cottage is. Now I'm taking the masking tape off to reveal the finished painting. Now, as I do this and look at the painting, I realise there's a few bits that need my attention. Sometimes I leave it for a day or two and then go back to a painting, and then I'll see the errors, but on this occasion I'll do it straight away. I hadn't painted the bush, which I think needs some colour in that part, and this again, it brings your eye to the centre of the painting where the house is. Just pop that in green. And also the shadows of the chimney pots in the sky had bled into the sky colour. Now you can lose this. I mean, it will make it lighter, but just gentle rubbing with water, clean water on the brush, and then wiping with a tissue. This Saunders Waterford paper is very good at giving it this kind of treatment. It's quite a tough paper, and there we go.